Right, so the Dexter Original Sin season finale has just arrived, and I've watched it, and I've got some mixed feelings around it. On one side, I really enjoyed the finale. I thought it was a lot of fun, it made sense for the story. On the other side, I was a bit disappointed. I kind of expected Harry to die. I guess it's good news that they're probably going to do another season or a few more seasons, but at the same time, I did want it to be a limited series, and I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. Leave a comment and let me know what you think of that. There are some big talking points this episode. We have the end of Brian's storyline, which is massive. We have a conclusion to the season-long murder investigation involving Aaron Spencer. No Dokes. That is a big deal. A lot of people are expecting Dokes. I didn't think he'd come, but it wouldn't make sense in my opinion. I'm not too bothered by that. And most importantly, Harry not dying. Again, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of Harry not dying, because for me, this confirms another season. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, please remember to subscribe and like the video. I'd really appreciate all that. If you want to become a channel member, I'd really appreciate that too. Helps me run the channel and keep these videos coming. And yeah, leave a comment too. My channel has been quite big in the Dexter conversation, and I always get great conversation around Dexter, so make sure to get involved in the chat. I like to reply to most comments that I get, as long as they're positive. You can be negative too, just don't be too harsh. So the episode opens up, and I really love this opening of the episode. We see the crate rescue from Brian's perspective. Obviously this is a flashback, and we find out that he's actually in a therapy session. Now obviously this therapy session has been hinted at earlier in the season, and we know that Brian kills the therapist. I thought this was done really well. We get to see Brian talk about his past life, and we see a lot of his backstory in quite an interesting way. It explains a lot of why he is the way he is. Some of these things we already knew, but I think to be shown this was really important as a viewer, and I imagine a lot of you would have appreciated it the same way I did. I found it quite interesting that he said the doctors, they didn't diagnose him, but they labelled him as a psychopath. That's very interesting. I mean, obviously he is a psychopath, but to be labelled it at such a young age and to show those violent traits. Are we getting a Brian is autistic video? Maybe. And again, Brian's obsession with Dexter continues, and they keep hammering this nail, and I loved this little storyline where he's obsessed with Dexter. Again, they hint at it in season 1 of the original Dexter show, but here it's really hammered in, and we really find out the truth of it. He is obsessed. Even to the end of this episode, he is still stalking Dexter, which is, it's so cool. Obviously this leads to a confrontation between Brian and Harry. Brian commits a murder at the end of last episode, and he attracts the Miami Metro to come and have a look at it. And as we already know, he's hoping Dexter arrives at these scenes. He knows where Dexter works, and this is his favourite way of stalking Dexter. It's not clear whether he knows Dexter is like him yet, whether Dexter has psychopathic tendencies, but that's not important yet, I guess. He just wants to be with his brother. We actually do get to see Harry confront him, and this is something I predicted would happen. This was a really interesting conversation to see, and it's a quite interesting moral debate. Brian wants to see his brother, and he thinks him and his brother belong together, but Harry manages to convince him that this is a selfish want, and whether this is true or not, Brian ends up agreeing with him, and I think this leads perfectly into a potential Brian spin-off. But watch my last video if you want to know about that. Obviously we have a storyline with Spencer as well. Spencer leads Dexter to this boat where he's holding Nikki, who we now find out isn't actually his biological son. I mean, there's not too much to say about this storyline. I didn't find it too interesting throughout the season, but Aaron Spencer's character was interesting. If I'm being honest, I always thought he was Captain Matthews, and that's the only reason I didn't clock immediately that he was obviously the murderer. The second I found that out, it was pretty clear to me who the murderer was. It's nice to see Dexter save someone. He channels his own urges and he controls himself, and this enables him to save a child's life. I do think the creators of the show do respect Dexter. They do love his character, and they sort of understand him fundamentally. Again, he's not necessarily a superhero, but what he does here is he shows his affection for children in a way. That sounds a bit wrong, but you get what I mean. He shows his appreciation for children and his want to save them, and how that overrides his dark passenger. I did like the bit where he had Aaron Spencer on the boat and he was about to kill him, and Aaron Spencer actually teased him about the truth about his dad and Brian. This is something that's really interesting, and Dexter didn't make much of it, but of course we as the audience have a bit more context and we know where he's going with this. So this is something I thought was beautiful and really interesting. We get an important scene between Harry and Dexter as well. Harry eats a bit of humble pie and admits Dexter was right. A lot of people complaining about the scene, saying it was retconned and that Harry, this should be where Harry kills himself, and that's kind of where I thought they were going with it when I was predicting what would happen in this episode. I thought he was going to see his best friend dismembered, and that's when he was going to decide to end his life, but he actually seems to appreciate Dexter here, and I think it makes sense for the story. If they're going to do more seasons, I'm not too bothered about this. Maybe you are though. Leave a comment if you are and let me know. Dexter also compares himself to Aaron Spencer, and he says he's different because he was born this way. He wasn't forced to be like this. And of course Harry knows differently. He knows the truth, and he's just been dealing with the truth the whole episode, so he actually lies to Dexter about this. And again, this is a really interesting dynamic, I think. So from there we pretty much just get the dinner scene with the whole family. Deborah gets her new job, which good for her. We knew it was coming, and it's not particularly that important. But the most interesting thing here is that Brian is still stalking Dexter, and how Dexter doesn't notice this, I don't know. He's supposed to be this super aware, super intelligent psychopath, but I do think they are teasing both a season 2 for Original Sin and a potential spin-off for Brian, which is very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to that. So yeah, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Again, I really enjoyed it. As far as Dexter season finales go, they can be a bit hit or miss. The season 7 finale is one of my favourite of all time, but Christ, the show finale, as in the entire show finale, that was awful. The finale for New Blood, that wasn't good either. So as far as season finales go, I'm happy with this. It felt a little bit safe. I think they could have done more with it, but again, I'm not going to complain. I'm happy with it. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Again, please consider becoming a member. You know, making these videos are difficult, they take a lot of time, and they do cost money, so any support I get is appreciated. But if you don't want to become a member, that's fine. Interacting with the videos, all the support I get is all greatly appreciated. 500 subscribers. I've hit 500 subscribers, that is insane, and it's all thanks to everyone who watches. Again, I can't believe some of my videos get thousands of views. It's incredible. It really makes me happy. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and stay tuned for the next episode because it's going to be a big one. A review of the whole Dexter series, and Silence Ave, one of the biggest YouTubers in the Dexter space, will be involved. It's going to be really good. Goodbye.